Tantrums are not inherently bad. It just means there's a communication deficit. It means your child is trying to say something to you, but they don't have the words or they don't have the means to. And the good news is that can be taught. Let's start with the story, okay? Let's start with the story. Let's start with the story to really get started. Okay, years ago, I was working with a nonverbal little boy. He had some pop-out words here and there. At the time, I wasn't a supervisor. I was a one-to-one therapist. And I loved going to this little boy's house. His mom always gave him chicken nuggets. And now when I smell chicken nuggets cooking in the microwave, I think of him. And I can see his beautiful little face. One day, the mom was sitting on the couch. The TV was on. It was in the winter, so the sun had already gone down and it was a late session. And we were talking about the little boy's progress. The mom and I were chatting, and the little boy walks in with the liter of soda, and he just puts it in his mom's lap. And his mom says, "No, not right now. You've had enough." Okay? And the little boy kind of starts whining. And then again, he puts it in his mom's lap and taps on it. And his mom keeps talking to me. She says, "Not right now." And this time he starts whining and stomping. The mom continues to ignore him and continues to talk to me. And this escalates the little boy. He starts whining, stomping his feet, and now he starts crying, but really loud, to the point where I can't hear the mom, and I'm standing a few feet away from her. At this point, the mom says, "Oh, okay, fine, just a little bit." And she pours a little bit of soda into his sippy cup. Let's break that down together, okay? In that moment, what was the little boy trying to say? He was trying to communicate, "I want soda." And then when she didn't give it to him, he was trying to say, "I really, really want soda." And then when she didn't give it to him the third time, he was trying to communicate, "I want soda so bad. I want soda so bad. This isn't fair. I want it. Can I have it? Open it for me." So in that example, the stomping, the crying, the shouting, that was a little boy's way of communicating, "I want soda," and he got it. It worked. The tantrum was effective. So in the future, when the little boy wants something really bad, he's going to go through that same pattern in order to get his needs met. In that scenario, we would want to teach the little boy how to communicate, "I want soda," to the mom. And if he's nonverbal, this can be done with a picture exchange icon. So a little icon of a soda, the little boy exchanges it to his mom, he gives it to his mom, and the mom says, "Soda," okay, and then she can decide right there whether she wants to give it to him or not. All of the tantrums and related unwanted behaviors that our kids emit is a sign that there is a need that's not being met and they don't know how to say it. Let me say it again. There is a need that's not being met and they don't know how to say it. So they're going to say it in a way that they know how, which is crying, which is falling to the floor, which is shouting. After these tantrum behaviors happen and they get the item that they wanted, the child learns, this is effective, this works, I'm going to continue doing this in the future. So what we want to do is replace the tantrum with an appropriate way of communicating. And that could look different for each child. It could be a picture exchange, it could be a vocal word, it might be tapping a picture on his AAC device. Another example is a little girl grabs her tablet and walks over to her mom and puts it in her lap. And then she starts slapping her mom, right? She starts slapping her mom with force. And the mom says, "Oh, okay, you want me to turn it on?" And they turn the tablet on and give it back to the little girl. I think parents sometimes get stuck like, "Oh, she has no way of communicating to me and I know what she wants, which is turning the tablet on, so I do it." But what we're missing here is the communication piece. We're missing a golden opportunity to teach our kids how to request what they want, how to get their needs met in a functional and appropriate way, and easy way. It should be easy. Okay, let's apply this to me and you. This foundational concept is so basic, is so raw in its purest form that it applies to you and me as well. It's not just our autistic learners. So for example, take people with people-pleasing tendencies. There might be crying. There might be pain. There might be discomfort when we continue to say yes when we really mean no, because there's a communication deficit. We don't know how to say, I don't want to do that. Thank you very much, but no thank you. Not only our kids, but even us sometimes, we don't have the words to get our needs met. Communication deficit is never the fault of the learner. It's a skill that was never taught. When us or our kids are having a tantrum because of some unmet need, that's a huge flag. It's like, wait, there's a skill deficit here. It might be a communication deficit. What am I trying to say? What am I trying to say and I don't have the words to say it? Because in ABA, yes, we work with nonverbal learners and how to teach them to communicate, how to reduce tantrums. But adults are not immune to tantrums. And when I say tantrums, that could look like crying and being very frustrated because you don't have the words to say what you want to say, or you don't know how. But the good news is it can be taught. The goal is to really develop a new lens of empathy for the learner. Tantrums are not inherently bad. It's just a sign that we want to say something and we don't know how. And once we identify that thing and teach the learner how to say it appropriately in a way that works for them, you will see frustration and tantrums go down. Let's talk about my kids. Let's talk about my kids. So yesterday we went to an amusement park, and I don't really like my kids to have a lot of sugar. But I thought, you know what? We're having fun. One IC is not going to hurt. I'm going to split it between them. I'm going to let them have a few sips and then we're going to throw it away. We're not going to drink the entire thing because that's crazy. So I gave them the IC and they were all about it. It was like this big. It was like this big. So they were sipping it and then I let them know, okay, one more sip and we're going to throw it away. And the little one was fine with it, but the older one got really upset. And she said, no, I don't want to. Communicating, right? But it's not a perfect world and ices have a lot of sugar. So I'm going to stand my ground in this one. And I was already anticipating, okay, this is going to be a thing, like trying to mentally prepare myself. And so she had her last sip, and then I said, okay, give it to me, we're going to throw it away. And she gave it to me, but she lost it. She started stomping and shouting and saying, I don't like this, I don't want this. In that example, yes, she was communicating, but there could have been another way to better communicate that frustration. She could have said, you know what, Mom, can I say something? Then I would say yes. She might say, I feel like this isn't fair. Can we make a deal? Can I have one more sip? Please, Mom. In that tone, right? And then it's up to me whether I want to reinforce that or not. But if she had said it like that, I would have said yes. So what I'm trying to say is, whenever we're acting out, throwing things, stomping, there's a way to communicate that frustration in a more functional and appropriate and safe way. And those have to be taught. Let's do one more example. So a few years ago, I was working with a little boy, and he really did not want to wash his hands, brush his teeth, or get dressed. What this little boy was doing was he would start, right when we presented the instruction, he would swipe all of his little toys off the table. All of his little animals would go flying. He would get up and run and hide in his room. That's how aversive, that's how like intense his behaviors were, and this was a big kid. So in that situation, there is a core communication deficit. What was he trying to communicate in that moment? In that moment, he was trying to communicate, I don't want to do this, or can I do it later, or do I really have to? I'm in the middle of something, or this isn't fair, I don't want it. So any one of those communication phrases would work because he was verbal and he could talk. But for whatever reason, he wasn't taught to say it. And so he never said it. As a clinician on his team, what we did was we started with teaching him to say, do it later. Say, do it later. And he wouldn't say it. Even though he was verbal, he wouldn't say it. The effort it took to say do it later was too high. So the behavior was up here. So something to consider is teaching these communication skills should be easier than the tantrum. So what happened was we ended up getting a picture icon, and all the little boy needed to do was tap it, and we would say, okay, do it later. And then he would get to escape the task. He wouldn't have to do it. And so again, what I challenge you to think about is not necessarily, oh, why didn't you follow through on him brushing his teeth and washing his hands and getting dressed if that's what you needed him to do? To that is the tantrum is really going to take precedence over all other programs. That means teaching him communication. So by teaching him to tap the little icon, and we're teaching him, this is how you get your needs met when you don't want to do something, and we will honor it. In session, right? Because it's not a perfect world. He probably needs to brush his teeth at some point or another. And you know what? The tantrums really decreased. They really went down. And then it came to a point when we would say, okay, time to put your shoe. And then right away he would find his icon, tap it. Do it later. And what an amazing, beautiful thing that now he has the voice to say when he doesn't want to do something. Because this is only one example. This is only brushing teeth and getting undressed. But there will be more situations as he grows up into a young man when people are going to ask him to do something that he doesn't want to do, and now he has the voice to say it. We want to give our kids the words to get their needs met even when we're not there. In all situations and circumstances, right? Our goal as ABA therapists isn't to force compliance. It's really to give them the skills to get their needs met throughout the day and throughout the rest of their life. We should be able to give our kids the words to say, I don't want to do that, or not right now, or this isn't fair, or do I have to? Can I do it later? Can I do it after this last video game? How amazing if all of our kids, autism and not, when they grew up into teenagers and young adults, they have the skills, they have sufficient communication skills to be able to get their needs met in all situations. That's really powerful. Tantrums are not inherently bad. It just means there's a communication deficit. It means your child is trying to say something to you but they don't have the words or they don't have the means to. Start by identifying what your child is trying to say in that moment and teach them an appropriate replacement behavior, whether that be the right words to say, or whether that be a picture exchange, whether that be an ASL sign, whether that be tapping an icon or gently tapping your shoulder. These are all appropriate ways of communicating and giving our kids the voice to get their needs met. It's our job as parents to be able to equip our kids with skills that promote resilience and skills that promote independence and autonomy as they grow into functioning adults in the world. I hope this video provided some insight. I'd love to hear your thoughts. From your favorite BCBA, you got this.